You're listening to the Platte River Bard.
It's January 20th, 2025. Happy MLK Day, and we here at the Platte River Bard have the scoop of the year. Opera Omaha has announced their 2025-2026 season effective today, and we have all of the information here to share it with you. We talk with Allison Swenson, General Director, and Katrina Thurman, the Director of Artistic Administration, about all of their exciting productions. Their new season has subscription prices that make opera accessible, with tickets beginning at $38. You can basically get 3 operas for the price of 2. For tickets and information to any of their upcoming productions, go to operaomaha.org. And now, on to our interview. Hello, and welcome to the Platte River Bard. This is Chris Berger.
And I'm Sherry Berger.
And we are here today at Opera Omaha with Allison Swenson. She is the General Director. And Katrina Thurman, she is the Director of Artistic Administration.
Yay.
They have both allowed us to sneak into the office here and talk to them about everything that's going on now and what's coming up here in the future. Now, we're talking about this in December, and we can't release this until January. So this is like, we have the door closed and everything.
We're so excited to talk to you. And there's so much already going on in the current season.
Yes, you guys have tons of stuff happening.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about what's coming up?
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. So, let's see. This will drop in January, and by the time it drops, we will be in rehearsals for Stravinsky's The Rake's Progress, which is our second opera in the Orpheum this season, and it is the first time that this opera has ever been seen in Omaha. So it's a company premiere.
Nice.
That's great.
Okay. So you'll be well into rehearsals for it by then.
We'll be well into rehearsals, and we have 2 performances on February 7th in the evening and February 9th in the afternoon. Of course, tickets are available on our website through Ticket Omaha.
Absolutely.
And it's a really cool production by the famous British artist David Hockney. And that name may be familiar to you and to our listeners. He is still living in his 90s and has a huge body of work and is still prolific as an artist. And this production was his first opera that he designed, and he designed several after, but it is truly iconic and originated at the Glyndebourne Festival in the United Kingdom 50 years ago in 1975. So we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of this production in Omaha, and we have representatives from David Hockney Inc., including his longtime archivist, coming to celebrate opening night.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's exciting.
That is awesome. Company premiere, you said. So an Omaha premiere.
It's an Omaha premiere.
Yeah. Amazing.
And this kind of had some Midwest roots, this story in the 1950s, right? Because it was based on the paintings that were in the Chicago exhibition. So it already kind of had some Midwest roots.
That's right. There are always connections. Stravinsky saw a series of etchings by William Hogarth on display at the Art Institute of Chicago. And those etchings are called The Rake's Progress, and that is what inspired this work.
Yeah.
Exactly. So as you're hearing this right now, our artists are hard at work in the rehearsal room with our principal guest conductor, Stephen White, and Roy Rollo, who's directing. We have a wonderful creative and production team that are supporting our vocalists, and it's a really exciting production. It's very colorful. The props alone are just an enticing thing to experience. It's really going to be a very, very exciting show.
Yeah.
Love it.
And yeah, it sounds exciting. And the music is Stravinsky. So if you enjoy that music, this will be a really great production.
Absolutely. And so we're rehearsing for that technically right now, and that'll be coming up. So what is happening after that for the next one?
the next thing on the schedule is our annual gala, which is our biggest fundraiser of the year for Opera Omaha. It will take place on Saturday, March 22nd at Steelhouse, Omaha, and it will feature a performance by the renowned dramatic soprano Christine Gerke. She is a 2-time Grammy Award winner.
Wow.
And she is presenting a 45-minute program called Celebration of an American Diva. So tickets for the gala are also available online. It is black tie optional, so if you like to dress up, this is your event. And included with the performance is a beautiful dinner and cocktail reception. And we have a wonderful event designer who has some creative ideas about how we transform Steelhouse Omaha into the Paris Opera.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, we've been seeing some of those preliminary designs, and they're really cool. I can't wait to see how it's going to come to fruition by the time we reach March.
Yeah. So I have not. I've been to Paris, but I was not to the opera. Have you been?
I have been, yes.
Have you? Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Have you, Katrina?
Yes, and actually even the architecture on the outside is so stunning. And my husband and I were in Paris a few years back, and we spent most of our time just walking around the outside of it.
Paris is just amazing to walk and look at.
Yeah, it's a good town.
Yeah, amazing.
There are 2 opera houses in Paris. Maybe someday Omaha can have 2 opera houses. Maybe we'll just continue to grow and grow. And
Yeah.
I think
demand will be such that there have to be 2.
Yes.
That'd be all right.
Be fine with me.
That would be great. Yeah. Maybe out west, so we have some other Lincoln people that
There you go.
can make the trek.
There you go.
Yeah, that would be great.
Let's get those people in on it.
Let's do it.
All right, so that's the gala, and that'll be at Steelhouse.
Steelhouse Omaha.
Omaha.
That's the new one that they just built. I bet
Yes.
it's beautiful
Yes.
inside. I have not been to it yet.
It's lovely. We were there for the gala last year, and it's such a special space.
Yeah.
It really works well for that type of an event, I think.
We were just in the lobby that once
I'm going to say, yeah, we briefly were
for the
in it.
Thespian Festival.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the Thespian
We didn't really
deal.
even get to see it.
No, we didn't.
Would you like me to go ahead and talk about our other show in the Orpheum in May? It is Giulio Cesare or Julius Caesar, and that is a Handel opera. So Handel, perhaps best known, we're recording this in December for the Messiah and the Hallelujah Chorus, which we hear especially this time of year.
For sure.
And Julius Caesar will be performed by the world-renowned Baroque orchestra, the English Concert. They are based in the United Kingdom. They tour the United States once annually, and typically that tour includes stops in Berkeley, California, where they perform with Cal Arts, and then in New York at Carnegie Hall.
Nice.
But we persuaded them to add a stop here at Opera Omaha in Omaha, Nebraska. So for one night only, audiences can hear the spectacular English concert with soloists. May 1st, get your tickets now at the Orpheum.
Yeah, that's going to be a do not miss kind of opportunity there. It's rare that you get that level of specialization for Baroque music and performance level here. And I also think it's just very cool that John Holliday, who was on The Voice and made it almost all the way to the end, he's a countertenor and he's starring in the show as well. So that's always fun.
And that is just for one night only, just May 1st.
Just May 1st.
Okay, Julius Caesar. And they're doing, so that now, I am unfamiliar with the actual piece. Is it like a full story, like the story of Julius Caesar, or are we doing like excerpts and stuff? Or
it is a full story.
Okay.
It is an opera,
Okay.
beginning to end. It is not the same story that we think of. It's not the Shakespeare story.
Right.
So the full title is actually Giulio Cesare in Egitto, which means Julius Caesar in Egypt. And so it tells the story really of Cleopatra's seduction of Julius Caesar. And in truth, she has the best music and maybe the most music
She has a
in
lot of
the
arias.
entire opera.
Wow.
So
Oh, wow.
it should really be called Cleopatra.
Yeah.
Cleopatra and Julius Caesar, yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
I know,
she
and-
sings a lot. Yeah.
I think when I first learned that, it never made sense to me that they were in the same era. So I've always found that story very fascinating, because in my head they were two completely different eras and different places that you don't think that they, ever
that they collided.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rome
So-
seems so much more modern, and ancient Egypt
Yeah.
seems much older, and it doesn't seem like those two should be together in the same
Yeah.
time frame. Yeah.
And yet they were a thing.
Oh yeah, and also Antony was down there as well. Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for anything Julius Caesar. So, wow, one night only, May the
Julio
1st.
Caesare.
I know.
Is that, say it right now?
Cesare.
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 Yeah, a little Italian notes to it. You want to be like Caesar, and they're like, no, Cesare.
Cesare.
It's fun.
It is fun. And I love that it's attached to a real story. That's
Absolutely.
That's a fun piece of it as well. Well, and then you've got your family opera that you put together, which was a new thing for Opera Omaha to do.
We do. We are performing Tobias Picker's Fantastic Mr. Fox, and that will be a familiar title to many.
Yes.
It's based on the Roald Dahl novel of the same name, which was then made into a popular Wes Anderson film not that long ago, maybe in 2009, I want to say.
Yeah,
somewhere
hasn't been
in
that
that
long. Yeah.
somewhere in that window.
Yeah.
And this is a new production for us, which means that we have commissioned the design for the sets and the costumes, and in this case, the puppets. And I'll ask Katrina to talk about the puppets. We are performing outdoors at Lauritsen Garden in June, and in addition to our typical lineup of national performing principal artists, the cast will feature 20 kids from the greater Omaha area. Do you want to talk about the kids and the puppets?
Oh, absolutely. So, what could make Fantastic Mr. Fox come more alive than larger than life-size puppets representing the bad guys in this story, who are the farmers, and some other elements of the farm. So we are working with designer Andy Manjunk for this, and he's done a lot of really wonderful work in puppet design and puppetry and performance himself. So he is prepared to be on site with us, with our performers, helping them to be comfortable, really operating, like I said, like puppets that are twice as tall as a
I
person.
just say, they're enormous. Yeah.
Right. They're going to be really exciting and special. And also, we are working with children, because this opera does require a children's chorus, and 4 of the named roles are children as well. So we've actually, in this moment, we've just completed auditions for the kiddos.
Oh, cool.
We heard a lot of wonderful kids. I wish we could bring them all into the show.
Yeah.
So many little performers, let me tell you.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
And we're also very happy to be teaming up with Sing Omaha, who is going to help us with the children's chorus and the preparation of all of that.
Oh, nice.
They're a wonderful organization. They do so much for the city, both helping to teach our children in our community about music and working together. And now we get to work together with them to bring this not so easy music to life. And so we're glad that we have their expertise in working with little ones.
And that is Sing Omaha?
Sing Omaha.
Sing Omaha.
Yeah.
Okay, I have heard of them before, absolutely.
And that's going to be so pretty at Lauritsen Gardens during that time of year, June 5th through the 8th. It's going to be a really pretty time.
I'm down for puppets.
Yeah,
with anything.
we're always down.
I'm such a huge fan of puppetry and anything that gets it in there. All right.
And then
There's
a season.
And then the very secret part that we have to make sure no one's listening. All right. And so so you finish out this season.
Yep, with the Fantastic Mr. Fox.
With Mr. Fox.
That's right.
Yeah.
And all the families, and that'll be great. And that'll be an outdoor thing. And then you're going to start the next season.
Yeah, we take a deep breath first.
I would say you have a few months off, yeah?
Well,
Or like a month and a half or so? Or
4 to 6 weeks of quieter time.
quiet,
Yeah,
okay.
I think
That's nice.
July, the office empties out.
Yeah.
That's a good time to take vacation, is July.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because you all have weekends to commit to with this job
During
as
the
well.
season,
So
sure, yeah.
it's nice to have that time.
For sure.
But we get started again in September.
We sure do.
And Katrina, do you have the date of Opera Outdoors right in front of you?
I
bet you do.
I do.
Opera Outdoors.
So it all kicks off, the season for the 25-26 season does kick off with Opera Outdoors.
Cool.
And that is on September 5th, 2025 at Turner Park. I think that'll be, our 12th year or our 13th
You've been doing it for a while.
It's been a minute. We've been doing that. And it's been well attended. And I think folks are really starting to, plan on it and
That's
come
cool.
out and
That's
join us
really
for
great.
a whole evening of fun. It's not just the music, which is always so much fun, but also the activities for families and just
cool.
being there in Midtown Crossing. There's so much going on. It's kind of a nice
absolutely.
way to kind of wrap up summer.
It's a good time to hear arias and ensembles from the upcoming season. And then if you're paying attention, we sometimes mix in some music from seasons even beyond that we're still dreaming about doing. So if you're paying attention, there are always a few clues in the program for Opera Outdoors. But it's also music that you recognize, even if you think you don't know opera. If you go to that performance, you will know at least 2 or 3 of the selections on the program.
For sure. We all do.
Yep.
It's like classical music. People always, I don't know classical music. Yeah, you do.
You've heard it on those
You've
commercials.
heard it, yes.
Or,
Yep, and they can identify
In that
it.
movie.
in that movie, exactly.
And that's part of the fun of it, too, is coming to stuff like this and go, oh, so that's what that is.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, that's what that's from. Yeah,
What's that
I
hummable
love
thing
that.
I always hum after I hear it? Yeah.
It's true.
But yeah, they stopped doing some of that in cartoons. When did they stop doing
I
that?
don't know. It's very upsetting, though.
Well, speaking
I'm
of
so
cartoons,
glad you said that.
I was going to say, do we have a rather famous one coming up?
yes,
We
So
do.
after Opera Outdoors,
yes, Allison.
We have.
you're coming to the Orpheum.
We're going to the Orpheum
Okay.
for Rossini's The Barber of Seville,
Ah.
which Bugs Bunny
Yeah.
Yes.
notoriously co-opted
Yes.
as the Rabbit of
That's right.
Seville.
Yes, the Rabbit of Seville. That's probably the most famous. God, it's got to be the most famous opera, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really
up
up
there.
there.
It's got, yeah.
Figaro, I think, is number
Maybe
one.
Figaro. Yes, the Marriage of
Right? We're
Figaro
in the
also.
top 5.
It's
Carmen.
Yeah,
Carmen, God, it's
La
it's
Boheme.
so
Some
popular.
of these are the big
Oh, yeah, La
favorites,
Boheme.
And so many people have used it. There's been, takeoffs on it, lampoons on it, serious things about it. Just, guys, it's just.
Well-
Everybody knows it. Even though if you don't know it, you do know it.
And I was just reading about Bugs Bunny's The Rabbit of Seville, like today, because I was like, oh yeah, it's that cartoon is still like ranked one of the top 10 best cartoons of all time.
It's
I think it was
brilliant.
released in 1950, and it totally, not that The Barber of Seville wasn't already beloved in 1950, but I think it brought so many more of of the population to opera in that time in the U.S. So, and it still is it's a lot of fun.
It is. It's
We
wonderful.
just watched it yesterday.
Did you?
It's fun to watch some of those older ones, especially when
Yeah.
they do stuff like this, because you can tell they knew about it and were fans of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, it's
like-
not just straight up making fun. It's like these people were fans of this.
Yeah, and it's like thanks for helping opera, like
Yeah.
because they have such a they're on a platform, everybody's listening and watching, and they're saying, hey, this is worthwhile.
Yep.
This is good stuff.
It was my first exposure to opera. Was
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Mine too, I think. Actually,
Yeah, I think so as well.
So no, Barber of
Yeah.
Seville, I would love to see, because since I was a kid,
Yeah.
I've been hearing the music and never actually got to see the show.
Do you sing, Figaro, Figaro, Figaro in the shower? Are you in there soaping up and la la laing?
I don't do a lot of singing in the shower, but
I'm surprised you don't.
I
Honestly.
don't. I'm not a shower singer.
I am.
Are you?
Yeah.
It's really good, the dynamics. You hear yourself so well in the shower.
Humidity.
I just-
Oh, yeah.
I've sung so much, I figure I just give myself a break when I'm in the shower. It's like,
But when did they stop doing cartoons? When did they stop doing the Saturday morning cartoons? Was it?
last century.
Was it?
Oh, yeah, we haven't had Saturday morning cartoons in the 2000s.
Those were such good
I think the
times.
I love
90s
that.
were the last time we had actual
Yeah.
Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Yeah.
They don't have it anymore.
No.
Start the day, pour a bowl of Cheerios, 3 scoops, tablespoons full of sugar into that,
right.
slight stir, watch 3 hours of cartoons.
That's right. Now you just go on YouTube and you go,
Yeah.
you type in cartoons from 1976, and there's like a 5-hour block of cartoons plus the commercials, and you just turn it on.
Yeah.
And it's got all the gold commercials on there too. It's hilarious.
The nostalgia.
Yeah.
That would have been a good.
That's Saturday morning.
That would have been a
cartoons
good
now.
thing for, the kids now.
Well, there's,
to-
I mean, where
to have
do you
learned.
put it? On what?
Yeah.
Saturday morning on what?
Probably a game.
On
Like we need
online.
more opera in
on
video
Netflix,
games. Sorry, I'm off on a tangent now.
I know. And I know that we didn't help you with that, but I will just say I have some opera singer friends who are working in video games and are recording vocals
Good.
in
Yep.
video games and having that really, beautiful ethereal sound
Oh my
is
God,
needed.
yeah.
It's really That's
Good.
a whole other. It is a tangent, but I
No,
suppose,
that's encouraging to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah, voice
Because
work is
everything
huge.
else is on video games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
voice work is huge now,
Yeah.
and people don't tend to think about that. But
that's encouraging.
But it makes sense for sure. Why wouldn't they tap sort of opera singers and stuff for a lot of these video games? And
Yeah.
and
Get the best voices. Come on.
I know that. Yeah, that's the
Singing
thing.
and speaking.
That's
Right.
right. That's right.
Well, yeah, and the video game industry generates more money than Hollywood.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's small potatoes. It's a big deal. That's awesome.
I guess that's where our Saturday morning cartoons went.
Video games.
But this particular show isn't necessarily about a chase. Do you want to talk a little bit about what the Barber of Seville is about?
Yeah. What is the actual story of the Barber of Seville?
Sure, happy to. So we have Figaro, who's our main character, and he's a barber, so that's where you get the title Barber of Seville. But he's also I don't want to call it a fix-it guy or a fixer. It's somewhere in between the two, where he helps everyone with what they need in town,
Yeah.
and he's very clever. And he has a friend who is a count who has fallen in love with a woman who is being held captive.
Yeah.
And so Figaro is trying to figure out how he can help the count free the woman that he has fallen in love with. And the feelings are mutual. So she has fallen in love with the count as well through a serenade, but she doesn't know that he's a count.
Right.
And so she thinks that he's a quote-unquote commoner.
Yeah.
And
like a student
it's
yeah.
total hijinks from beginning to end, mistaken identities, tricks being played, physical humor. It's a really delightful show. And Rossini was hugely popular in his day, and this was an opera that was immediately well received by audiences. In fact, it only took him 13 days to write it.
Oh my God.
Wow.
But he was so popular during his lifetime that he retired in his 30s.
Wow.
And he lived, I think, to be 76. So he had
Wow.
a good long life.
What a deal.
He loved to drink. He loved to eat. He was the life of every party. And I think that is absolutely apparent in the music and the storytelling in The Barber of
In the
Seville.
Barber of Seville.
For sure.
So there are some aspects of it that could be taken as Bugs Bunny, the cleverness, the saving, the physical humor.
Oh, sure.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things that really
That's
surprised
neat.
me as we got into talking about operas and learning about them is that there's a lot of sort of humor and out and out slapstick comedy
Yeah.
in these operas, which you don't normally associate that with opera. You don't think, oh, well, this is a funny one.
But those are usually the operas that are the most popular, right? The ones that have comedy. Would you say they're the most popular?
It's a mix.
It depends. I think, if I'm totally honest, I think it's usually the tragedy that gets people.
Really?
It's the heartbreak.
Yeah.
It's the bohème. Although La Bohème it's a tragedy, but there's enough lightness in it. But I think more often you're anticipating the Tosca or the Carmen and those
Madame
big
Butterfly.
Italian
Yeah.
emotions and the heightened reality and drama of it all. But it is fun, especially I have always thought it is fun to start a season with a comedy.
Yeah.
Sort of,
Fair.
that's the note for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
I love that.
That's great.
that.
And it's great that so many operas do have that range then. So,
For sure. All right, Barber of Seville, classic. Everybody knows it.
October 24th and 26th.
Yes, with some really fabulous artists. We're so excited. And am I allowed to say
You're
now?
allowed.
It's time. I can say
You
who
can
they
say
are.
wonderful.
yes.
We're announcing.
We are announcing. So our director is Stephen Lawless. He directed this original production. He is so fun. He's so detailed. He doesn't miss a beat in terms of directing down to the finite item that you're going to get laughs is what I'm saying.
Awesome.
Gary Thorwado is our conductor. He's back for this show, and he's just wonderful, and so he really excels in this repertoire, and it's so fun to work with. I think cast, orchestra, everyone loves him. We love him. And then our Figaro is Alexander Elliott, who has been with us before for 2 productions. We're so excited that he was available to come back for this because he is a great Figaro. We're very excited about Daniela Mack, who, was just on stage a minute ago leading Ina Damar at the Met. No big deal.
No big deal.
No biggie. She's going to be here as our Rosina, our love interest.
Awesome.
Just wonderful artist and human being. And then we're very excited that Ming-Hao Liu is going to be our Count Almaviva. Rossini has a lot of fast notes. He likes to write lots and lots of notes for his singers to sing. And our head of music, Josh Quinn, and I heard Ming-Hao recently live in audition, and he is just... It's almost inhuman what he's capable of doing with his voice and singing all those fast notes and extra high notes that weren't even intended. He just throws them in like it's nothing. So we're very excited about him, about the whole cast and everyone down the line for this show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I have a stupid question. So
Sure.
was Figaro... Is this after or before Figaro? Because I remember when we were
the marriage.
talking about... Yeah, there was
not-
another story, and I can't remember which direction.
Not a stupid question at all. And the answer is a little bit confusing, but I will try to make it as clear as possible. So The Barber of Seville and The Marriage of Figaro are the same characters from a trio of novels by a French novelist named Beaumarchais. So The Marriage of Figaro was written first because Mozart lived before Rossini. But the story of The Barber of Seville takes place before the story of The Marriage of Figaro in the novel trilogy.
Okay, so sort of, in continuity.
Yes.
Okay.
But they're based on the same source material.
Okay.
So when you're watching Rosina fall in love with the Count, envision them as the Count and the Countess in The Marriage
From
of
Marriage
Figaro.
of Figaro.
It's the same characters.
Okay.
Okay.
And
This
in The
is
Marriage of
their-
Figaro, it's kind of gotten dull. Their once fiery love has kind of...
Yes, cooled
Faded.
off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of... So to oversimplify it,
It's a prequel.
it's kind of like Star Wars.
It's a prequel.
There you go.
Yes, if you saw Marriage of Figaro.
Totally oversimplified it.
Yep.
I don't...
If you saw Marriage of
I'm
Figaro,
probably in
then
trouble
you got to
somewhere.
see Barber of Seville. 'Cause
See
it's-
how it all started.
Exactly. It's the prequel. You must see it.
Yet another thing that George Lucas did that's been done.
That's right.
Right.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Yeah, because I was always
Great.
curious about
I
that.
like the connection. to
Well, and I was
Figaro.
always curious, was it Figaro just a popular name and it got used in a couple of different operas, or was it actually the same character? And it is supposed to be the same character.
is.
Yep.
I'd never realized that those were adapted from a book.
Yep.
I did not know that.
That's exciting.
Okay.
How fun.
Yes. 2 big ones. All right.
So that one's October 24th and 26th.
Yes.
And then after that, you don't have another one until
January.
End of January. That's right.
And so in January, we are performing an opera called Susanna, which is by the American composer Carlisle Floyd. And 2026, gosh, 2026.
I know.
I know.
2026 marks the 100th anniversary of Carlisle Floyd's birth. And so we will be participating in the Carlisle Floyd Foundation Centennial Celebration with our production of Susanna.
Nice.
Carlisle Floyd was born in South Carolina, and you hear that influence in the music and in the storytelling. So in addition to writing the music, he also wrote the words, which makes him the librettist. So he's the composer and librettist for Susanna. And it's a story that I think it feels American. Of course it is American.
Right.
But it's something that we know and we understand as cultural norms, how the characters interact with each other. And this one is a tragedy. So we started with a comedy. This one really is a tragedy. And it follows the story of a young woman, a beautiful young woman in a small town who becomes the subject of mean-spirited gossip and what happens after that. This is a production that we purchased from Opera Theater of St. Louis. It was just done for the first time in 2023.
Oh, okay.
So it's only been seen one other time, and now it lives here in Omaha with us. And it's set in the modern day. This is a story that's so timeless, it really lends itself to storytelling even in 2025, or what will be 2026 when we produce it. And it's gorgeous. It's so beautiful. Great use of projected images.
Ooh, neat.
And so we're looking at a country setting. We feel like we're in the woods. We feel like we're in the river. We're at a tent revival. We're in all of those places in small town America. And it's just the color saturation is stunning.
It's really outstanding. And this music, it's so special. You know, we're in a renaissance for American opera right now. And in the last many years, honestly, there's so much writing. Susanna still holds the spot as, I think, the second most produced American opera after Porgy and Bess. It's very well known and beloved because it is relatable, it's tuneful. It was premiered, I should say, in 1955, and it was really kind of highlighting feminist tones at a time where that wasn't the norm. And so it's a really special piece. We have wonderful artists again for this show. I mean, this is everything's a don't miss it kind of thing here. It cannot be missed at Opera Omaha. But again, this one is going to be, it's going to really touch people, I think, touch your heart. And the music really sticks with you too, I think.
So am I to understand that the opera music has a little bit of an Appalachian flair?
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
It
Interesting.
does. You'll hear what sound like folk tunes.
Oh,
And
wow.
of course with full orchestration.
Very interesting.
And probably the orchestration then is going to have that banjo
Very interesting.
maybe type influence,
it has that kind of like because he a lot of the writing for this work was inspired by Appalachian melodies, just like you said, and so you have kind of that. I don't know how to say it. It's like there's like a hoedown kind of feel. There's dancing, and because it is being moved to a modern era, there's going to be some line dancing, and it's during the revival scene, the gathering, it's like
Right
a
at the
potluck
beginning,
kind
before-
of. Everyone's got food.
Nothing
and,
has gone wrong yet.
Nothing has gone wrong. Everyone's
We're
happy.
line dancing and having a good time.
Everything's still
Yes.
happy. Yes. The
People
tragedy
are
is
being
not kicked in
nice.
yet.
Yes, that's
But
right.
that is neat. Of course, in Barber of Seville, that's sort of a period piece. And now we're going to Suzanne, which is, you guys are completely updating it, 100% modern for 2026 already. And so now we got a period piece. Now we got a modern piece. Susanna, very produced. What are we following up Susanna with?
We are following up Susanna with Hercules.
Hercules.
Another name that we know, the Greek god Hercules. And Hercules is, again, a Handel opera, and we are welcoming back the English concert, the orchestra that is performing with us this year for Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
They're making a repeat appearance in Omaha. Again, we were able to snag them between their dates in California and New York.
Nice.
To do Hercules, which is not done as frequently as Julius Caesar, so it's really special to hear. And it features not only orchestra and soloists, but a chorus. So it's a pretty big undertaking. So the story, again, not dissimilar from Julius Caesar, is really more about Hercules' wife.
Oh, really?
Deianira. And I don't know if it's when Handel was writing that we had to name these operas after the powerful men who are in them. Maybe that was the case. Of course, they are the names that are recognizable today, but
Sure.
But really, she, again, is the star of the show.
She's sort of the main character.
And she has it's a convention in opera. She has a mad scene. And that is, the Rake's Progress has a mad scene coming up here in just a few weeks. Lucia di Lammermoor probably has the most famous mad scene where we have, spoiler alert, a bride who kills her husband on their wedding night.
Right.
And then sings about it. Hercules has a mad scene featuring Hercules' wife, Deianira, and the music is absolutely spectacular and florid. It's different stylistically than Rossini, but again, we're talking about very fast notes and singing and vocal virtuosity.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about a mad scene with a woman, you mean a scene where she
It's insane.
just kind of does something
Crazy.
crazy,
There's
I guess.
some
I don't
sort
know.
of mental break, and then that is displayed vocally through vocal acrobatics usually.
Now, the mad scene in the Rake's Progress is a
That's
man.
Right. That is right. Yeah.
It's usually a woman, but in the Rake's Progress, the man has the mad scene.
So that is that a thing with opera? Is that you'll get a mad scene? Sometimes that'll happen.
That sometimes happens. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's part of it.
I think the source material is, the what's the lead for these things happening in opera, but there is the opera Hamlet, where Ophelia has her mad scene, and
Sure.
it's one of the hardest things for a coloratura soprano to sing. It's very difficult,
Really?
because she's losing it, And I guess I don't know. You ever have a bad day and you're just wailing around your house?
For sure.
This is the operatic version of that.
Okay, interesting. Very interesting. I know very little about Hercules' wife. I can only imagine how put upon she was. Because Hercules
Well, if you want to find out more,
out of his mind.
come to the Orpheum on March
Love
13th.
to see it. I know. I'm so fascinated by it.
March 13th, 2026.
Hercules is not known for being a sort of even-keeled person.
Yeah.
Oh, how exciting, though.
I love it. I love anything about Hercules. He's such a fun character, and all the things that have surrounded him with his family, his wife, the people that traveled with him on the labors and all that. Endless source of hilarious stories.
I want to say, speaking of not even keeled, something that we're doing in conjunction with the Omaha Symphony is what drops in next, actually.
Oh, you guys are partnering with the symphony.
Yes,
Okay.
we are. And we're going to be doing Bluebeard's Castle, and I'd let Allison talk a bit more about that piece. But, yeah.
I think Bluebeard's Castle has kind of a true crime feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bluebeard's Castle, it's a masterpiece. I know we throw that word around sometimes, but I really mean it. It's an amazing opera. It's by the Hungarian composer Bartók. And to back up a minute and talk a little bit about our relationship with the Omaha Symphony the Omaha Symphony performs for all of our Orpheum shows, with the exception of when we have the English concert engaged. But otherwise, we work very closely with the Omaha Symphony. And we decided, or I should really say that Jennifer from the symphony came to us and said they would be interested in the prospect of co-producing something that we would share both, expense and revenue, and that we would perform in their beautiful home venue, the Holland Center.
Okay.
And so we went through a process together, and of course Katrina was integral to that process of discussing repertoire and what opera audiences like and what symphony audiences like. And it's funny because they're different. You would think that we have the same audience for opera that the symphony has. It's classical music.
Yeah.
We really don't.
Really?
And so they have different preferences. And we landed on Bartók in part because he's so beloved as a composer of symphonic works.
Sure.
And so that has great appeal to their audiences. Now, it's a one-act opera. So it's just about an hour long. It features only 2 singers, bass baritone and a soprano. And the bass baritone is the titular character of Bluebeard, and he has a new bride named Judith.
She's the new one that figures everything out.
Yep, and she comes to their new home and discovers that a good number of women have come before her.
Right.
And that is the gist of it. Do you want to talk a little bit about the singers as well as the design?
Oh, sure. So we're super excited about the entire creative and artistic team for this show. We worked together with the symphony on who would we love? Dream team. Who could we possibly bring out
your 2 people in the
right,
show?
the 2 people, but also our conductor and also the visual aspect of this, because it is going to be performed concert style. But how could we maybe bring more of the story into a concert style opera?
Okay.
So the conductor for the show is Lydia Yankovskaya, who is having a wonderful career. Absolutely has skyrocketed in the last years, and so she'll be leading the band, so to speak. Our Judith will be Michelle DeYoung, who has had a fabulous career. Again, we're just very excited about the level of artists who are coming to perform for this. Okay. And our Bluebeard is Mr. Ryan McKinney, who has headlined at the Met, and as has Michelle.
Very nice.
And then we have a projection designer, so a gentleman named David Murakami. Is very well known for the projections that he creates for both operas, symphonic works, etc. And so we approached him about what ideas he might have if we said, okay, we want to do this at the Holland. It's going to be in a concert style, but what can we do to help illuminate the story? Okay. And David's work is absolutely stunning and very engaging, but doesn't take away from the music and the experience of hearing the symphony play this full score and these fabulous singers. So we've been working with David on his ideas, and we're so excited about what these couple of evenings are going to be for the Omaha community.
And
That's really neat.
It just serves to deepen the relationship that we already have with the Omaha Symphony.
Yes,
absolutely.
We're so fortunate to work with them closely and to benefit from the exceptional musicianship and artistry and commitment to the community of Omaha that they bring. And it has been a true pleasure working with the team at the Symphony to devise Bluebeard, and I hope there will be future opportunities.
Same. It's really exciting. Can't wait for us to just kind of continue in these next steps as we prepare for that performance. Yeah.
Well, and you guys talked about projection in this, and there's a couple of shows that you guys say that you're doing stuff with projection. Right. There's a lot of that's sort of a really big emerging trend in theater in general, in any kind of live performance. Is all this projection stuff. I've seen just a little bit of it so far, not a lot. Very curious to see what he's going to bring
Yeah, it's very exciting. We've had some preliminary ideas.
Yeah,
Can't share
a
that
lot of
just
work going on with that projection, with the projection stuff. It's
will be
really
great.
exciting to see it.
It really makes so much more possible. Technology, it does serve us in so many ways. And as it regards like operatic sets, backgrounds, like visuals,
Yes.
you can really expand your possibilities. And honestly, to be perfectly honest, stretch a budget
For sure.
that. And be quite engaging. So he's done some really wonderful projects that we've had the opportunity to experience, and I think we're all quite confident he'll
He'll
do that again.
He'll do
here.
a nice job for you.
Yeah.
And people in theater, set people are probably like having less scene changes too. And people like to watch less scene changes.
True.
So that's
True.
like an instant scene change.
It is an instant scene change. And I mean, listen, we have amazing stage crew at the Orpheum here
Oh,
that
God, yes.
they can
do anything.
They can do anything.
Yeah.
They're so good to work with. I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
And at the same time to kind of make things even more well-rounded in terms of like what someone's experiencing, even having set changes, but visuals on top of moving sets. It's the world has expanded in terms of what we can do.
That's great.
And we just want to play
Layer
with it
all
all.
of this
And
stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, play with everything.
What can we do?
Yeah.
Everything.
Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing. Projections. Yes, indeed. I have yet to work on a show that we had projections and stuff, but I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah.
Really neat stuff.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Well, and I mean, the operas that I've seen, there's quite a bit already being done. So how exciting to have some other things coming down
More stuff.
the pike here.
It's a good balance. We know too that people enjoy going to the opera in part because of the larger than life sets.
Yeah, the spectacle
and
of
scale
it. For
and
sure.
exactly the grandeur of it.
Yeah.
So I would never be in the camp of no more physical sets.
Right,
Just
exactly.
Right.
both.
technology.
Yeah.
It's both. And
Everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's something for everyone.
Yes.
Or that's what we're striving for.
And I think that the next opera on our season really speaks to that as well. This second ever family series opera that Opera Omaha is going to.
So the next one coming up is another family series like
It
the Mr.
is.
Fox.
So it'll
I
be,
love
that
that.
we kick off our family opera series this year with Fantastic Mr. Fox, and next year we have our second ever family series opera.
That's great.
And that piece is called Unshakable.
Okay.
And it was written in 2016.
Oh, wow.
And so it's a newer work. Of course, Fantastic Mr. Fox was written in 1999. So by operatic standards, that is also very new.
For sure.
But Unshakable, written in 2016. And it takes place in a dystopian future where there has been an epidemic that causes memory loss. And so some people have their memory. Some people do not have their memories. We're following two characters. They're Shakespearean actors. They're husband and wife. They've been separated. So at the beginning of the opera, we're following them individually. And we soon realize that the husband remembers everything and the wife does
The
not.
wife does not.
So they end up finding each other and they learn how to communicate through the lines of Shakespeare that they used to recite as actors because that she can remember.
She still remembers the Shakespeare line.
And there is an audience participation component that is essential for Meridian, that is her character's name, in order for her to regain her memory. And so the audience helps move the story along. And it is under an hour long. It's Fantastic Mr. Fox is quite a large show. It's 12 principals, I think, 16 in the chorus, 4 children as principals, larger than life puppets.
Sure.
We're going to be outdoors. We've got a rain plan if we need to move indoors.
Right, that happens.
Unshakable is a little bit more flexible in terms of where it can be performed and how it can be performed. So we're in the early phases now of determining exactly what that looks like for us. But you can count on performances the first week in June of 2026.
That's right.
And there are a lot of angles that we can explore, whether it is talking about memory or Shakespeare, or depending on who our community partners are, maybe there's a scientific element about how memory works, or about the physics of sound, of making music, how your vocal cords work. So there is a lot still to come with Unshakable, but it's meant for audiences of all ages.
It is. I think it's a very special piece. Very excited about that one. And
It sounds really neat.
It does sound really neat.
And I think that's it. I think that we've talked a lot today about how there's so many different kinds of operas, and this is
You guys are really showcasing that here.
You're really seeing, I think, just in our discussion today, like the wide variety, and I think that that's exactly right, because one thing may not quite be for someone that that another thing is, and I think Unshakable is really, it's so accessible. I hope for families, young families, and people in our community here to come and experience this really special piece.
One, I guess, metaphor or comparison I would make to going to the opera is, especially if you're new to opera, to think about it like going to the movies.
Okay.
So as if you've never seen a movie before.
Right.
And you go, well, I don't know if I liked that movie. I don't like movies.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody would do that.
Right.
You would say,
Exactly.
okay, well, maybe this movie isn't for me. This drama isn't
this
for
style,
me.
yeah.
But I saw this comedy and I liked that. Or I like Disney movies. I like sci-fi. I like crime.
Exactly.
I mean, we do the same thing
Yes, you
in
do.
opera. So I encourage our audiences, particularly if they're new to the art form, to take a look at what we're doing and think about what might interest them. I am confident that they will enjoy it, but also to know that there are so many different types of operas and ways to experience it.
That's exactly right. And also just within the offerings that we have for the community that aren't necessarily at the Big Opera House, there's a whole buffet of ways that you can experience opera in the Omaha community via Opera Omaha. We have our Opera to Go concerts, which are feel more like a pop-up type event that happens in the summer at various farmers markets, etc. We do poetry and music for the children in our state to have the opportunity to write poetry that might be set to music with a professional composer.
Yeah.
How exciting is that, to
That's
have your
really
poetry on
Yeah.
display and composed, and some professional singing that music. So there's so many ways that we reach out to our communities, and I'm only listing a couple there.
We're often at Gallery 1516.
That's right.
We have fellows who are with Opera Omaha for either a year or 2 years, and they are artists in some discipline, often singers, but not always singers, and they work with our community partners to bring arts and culture to organizations or populations that typically don't have access. In addition to the work that they do with our partners in the space of creativity workshops, often they perform for Opera Omaha outside of the scope of those workshops. So Gallery 1516 recitals. We just performed at the Jocelyn through Nights at the Jocelyn. We have performances at Lauritsen Gardens around the holidays. So there are many ways and many venues through which you can experience Opera Omaha.
For sure.
What we have at Opera Omaha is more performances, more venues, and more ways to see opera than ever.
It sure seems like it. You guys have been ramping up every year that we talk to you. You guys have been doing a little more, a little more, a little more.
And you have that partnership with Film Streams too, right? To see them met in HD.
We do. So if you're an opera lover and you want to see performances that are produced at the Metropolitan Opera in New York City, you can go to film streams in Omaha on Saturdays, usually around 11 a.m. or noon, I think, Central Time. You can, of course, you have to look at the schedule in advance to see what operas are being broadcast, but they're live streamed.
Oh,
It's taken me a while to get to that point. They're live streamed from
Yeah.
the Met to movie
streamed to
theaters
the
around the
theaters, yeah.
country. And the movie theater in Omaha is Film Streams downtown. And you can also see an encore on Wednesday evening. So I was just there a couple weeks ago to see Tosca.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a great experience.
Yeah.
You get popcorn or a glass of wine or both.
yeah.
See some Tosca at the Met with some international superstars.
Yeah.
It's a great
and then
deal.
think, this is so good. I just really like opera. And you know what I want to do? I want to subscribe to opera at Opera Omaha.
Yes.
And guess what? Right now, season tickets are available.
Yeah.
That's right.
right.
They're now on sale. And if you want, you can get 3 operas for the price of 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, that means season tickets are starting as low as $38 right now for the entire season. So this is the
man.
time to get in early. Yeah,
It's a smoking
it's a good
deal.
deal.
That's
It's a really
really-
good. Yeah, I mean, sometimes folks have the wrong idea and think that opera can be expensive, but no, we really want to make it accessible here for everyone to come and see opera. And again, just like Allison was saying, like, what is your style? What kind of opera do you like?
Yeah.
We've got it. We've got it.
And
Yes,
we
you
really,
do.
we really want you to come. And I hope that's clear that by the price point, that for us, it isn't so much about what you spend on the ticket
Right.
to see the show. We want you to enjoy what we're producing here. We want you to experience it because it's something that we do for the community. We get excited about the operas that we love
Yes.
and the singers that we love.
Yes.
And we're in this kind of opera nerd bubble
Yeah.
all the time. But the work that we do is very intentionally for the people of Omaha and Iowa, Nebraska, everyone that's coming to our performances. We make it for you, and we want you to come and enjoy it, and we'll remove as many barriers as possible
That's right.
to you coming and being a part of the experience. It's about making Omaha an even more culturally vibrant city than it already is.
Absolutely.
Yep. Oh, that's wonderful. And that's what's needed, is to look at it that way. Because, absolutely.
Yeah, removing all the barriers, man. Because, stuff like
Yeah.
this tends to have a little stigma attached to it, and everybody's like, oh, that's not for me. Yes, it is. You just got to go see it.
Give it a try.
Yeah.
Try. You can wear jeans.
Yeah, it's okay.
Katrina and I are both at work today. We're both wearing jeans.
Yeah,
So comfy.
it's okay. It's
No,
okay.
that's great. And the one thing I did learn when I went, and you always have a show, so you don't get to go with me.
No,
and I don't
I've
get
only
to
been
subscribe.
once.
But I learned to schedule your bathroom breaks because they don't let you back in. That's the one thing I learned.
We usually have nice signage out front that says, this is the length of the opera. There will
Yep.
be this many intermissions, and you can think, okay, great. I'm going to go now, 'cause then it'll be 60 minutes, and then I'll go again.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Because you can get things to drink there. So,
Yeah.
yes, you can plan it.
We don't typically make you go for, like, I think about sometimes my husband loves Marvel movies, and we'll go see those, and those are sometimes they're 3 hours long, and there's no
Yeah.
bathroom break at all, no intermission at all.
No, there's
No.
not.
We give you one at the opera. So.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's right.
I love
and
it.
you can also get champagne at intermission.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, and candy.
Well, okay.
I'm the sweet tooth. Yeah. Concessions. We've got it all.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you usually have information about Opera Omaha, or even some of your reps there as well to talk to.
Oh, yes, always.
For sure.
Yeah,
Always.
That's
always.
great.
And we have things like prelude talks as well. So if there's an opera you want to see and you want to know a little bit more about it before you walk into the theater, our head of music does talks before the show that are wildly informative and fun and interesting. So you get a little extra kind of input before you go in. And so then when you're
Nice.
watching their show, you're like, I'm
Yeah.
seeing this moment he spoke about. So
Okay.
that makes that fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love all the collaboration that you do with the community,
Yeah.
especially. And then such a diverse season, for people to experience, and how fun it will be for them to say, "Oh, I saw that one," and "Oh, I saw," because they got to see such a variety.
Well, congratulations on your upcoming season,
Yes,
2020
congratulations.
25-26 season, and break all the legs on everything that is left
Much
in this
appreciated.
season.
Thank you.
All the
Thank you
legs.
so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you having us.
Oh, absolutely. So happy to have you. Thank you for listening and supporting the arts in the Platte River area and beyond. Please subscribe to our podcast so you are sure to catch all of our future episodes and join us on social media. See you next time on the Platte River Bard.